everyone, welcome back to A Little Literary Love. My name is Shelby. I'm glad you are with me today because we're going to be doing my end of March wrap up. I had to think about it for a second. Yes, we're actually in April now. This is kind of weird. I feel like I'm in a weird spot. I am redoing my whole book room right now and making it into an actual book room slash office for myself. So I've moved bookshelves. I am on the floor right now because my chair that I use is currently full of stuff. I'm still working on like where I want books to be on here. So it's a work in progress. But yes, so we're going to get into all the books that I read in the last half of March. But before I do, I just want to say, please, if you would like this video, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you haven't already. If you enjoy my content, I really appreciate it. I post videos every Thursday and Sunday. I'm trying really hard to get to 1,000 subscribers this year, but I can only do that with the help of you all. So thank you. Appreciate it. And then I have 7 books to talk about that I read in the last half of March. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk today, excuse me. So we're gonna go through those. Alrighty, so the first book that I have is Vengeful Gods by Elliot Rose. This is the first book of the Porte Macabre. I don't know if this is a duet or a series. I know there's a second book and then like a little novella book somewhere in there. This is dark romance. This is end up being a poly romance. The female main character of this story does get kidnapped by 3 men who are trying to seek revenge against a secret society that she is the heir to, even though she has tried to distance herself from the secret society and she on her own has tried to escape. So they are wanting to use her as collateral to basically take the power from the secret society and then crush it. And originally their plans are also to destroy her in the process because they have a huge grudge against her family, and so they just want to destroy anything of that bloodline. So very, very dark story. I gave this one 3 stars. I thought it was meh. This one is a lot of spice. Like, it's very, very high spice. Lots of kink, lots of sexy times. Like, oh my god, it's like 80% spice and like 20% plot. And honestly, that was just too much for me in a 600-page book. If I'm going to read a book like that, I need it to be shorter. Like, it was a lot. And I don't know. I just didn't really care for the plot that was going on with it. At times it bordered on like a bully romance, which I have really gotten out of that. It's hard for me to read a bully romance now. I used to read a ton of them and I just can't stomach them anymore. So at times it kind of reminded me of that, and the only reason I kept reading was because of the spice. And I just kept reading to see what else kind of crazy scenarios they would get into. But yeah, I'm not too sure that I will be continuing on with this series. I do want to try. Elliot Rose does have a small town like cowboy romance series that is very popular, has now gotten picked up by a publisher. I do want to try that series and try that out, but if I don't really like those books either, I might say that this author is just not for me. Then I read In the Care of Magic by Robin Jo Margaret. This is an erotic novella. I read this for the Trans Rights Readathon. This one is about a witch, and she's just really tired of her little town that she lives in. She does a lot of things for the townspeople, and she just really feels like she's not appreciated, and she's just worn down. So she decides to kind of take a break, take a vacation. She goes to her house that she grew up in. It's this little cottage in the woods, and she ends up summoning a sex demon to have some fun with. So this one I gave 3.5 stars. This was fine. It was cute and spicy. It's just, this is my second book by this author, and I've just kind of discovered that it's kind of boring. the books. There's nothing inherently like wrong with them. I just get really bored reading them. So, I mean, I'm glad that they're novellas, so I can read them pretty quickly. But I don't know. It was cute and sweet. There is no romance in this one because this sex demon is an agender, a romantic character, which I did appreciate that because I have not read a ton of that kind of representation in my books. So that is definitely something that I need to expose myself to more of. So I did appreciate having a story with that kind of character. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. Then I read Aurora's Angel by Emily Noon. This is a fantasy romance. This is a sapphic fantasy romance. So we have Aurora, who is a shifter huntress, and she has been spending her time, years, hunting down her father's killers. Now she is just on this one last task, and then she is planning on relaxing, and she's planning on traveling and going to somewhere else so that she can just kind of like be herself and not really have to worry about people taking advantage of her because of her great powers and prowess. And then so that she's not as worried either about people trying to hunt her down and kill her. Anyway, so she's on her last task that she's completing, and to exact her vengeance against her father's killers. And she comes across, she is at this like a torture facility for shifters, and she comes across this avian woman, so like a bird shifter, who is, she rescues her basically, and then tries to help her like take her back to her kingdom, because this woman Evie is not great with survival. She also ends up breaking one of her wings, so she cannot fly back. So Aurora helps take care of her and heals her, and so they just have this journey together to bring her back to her kingdom before Aurora goes off on her peaceful adventure that she's trying to go on. So I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. I loved that this is a sapphic romance. I loved both of these characters. This is definitely more of a slow burn romance, but I really appreciated that in the story because as a fantasy romance, it takes a lot of building up for the characters to really trust each other. They start to become kind of friends before they become lovers. And I also really appreciated the world building in this. It was a really great magic system and world, and I really enjoyed this one. This is probably one of my favorite sapphic romances that I've read. It was really good. Then I have A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. I actually have a physical copy of this, but I don't know where I put that in all of my moving books around. So you'll get a picture of this. So this is by Tia Williams. This is a contemporary romance story. This one is our female main character is moving to New York to open a flower shop. This is her dream. And she rents a space underneath this woman's brownstone and in Brooklyn, and she goes and has tea with this woman every week. And this woman, she's in her 90s and just tells her all these different stories about growing up and her life. And in the process, she comes to really appreciate like Harlem and the Harlem Renaissance and Brooklyn. So she starts putting like her flower arrangements like all over these different historical landmarks. And she kind of becomes this like social media sensation. And then there's also, she keeps running into this very mysterious man all over town. Like they just keep bumping into each other. There's something that is pulling them together. There's also some dual timeline in this story. So we go back to the 1920s following this musician who has moved to Harlem to start over his life. So this, I gave this one 5 stars. I loved this one. I loved the quirky characters in here. I loved the history that is mixed in. It's just, this is a magical realism book, and it read, it was just so magical, and I loved it. I loved the love story too. It's one of those epic across time kind of love stories. I don't want to say too much more into that because I don't really want to spoil anything, but it is an epic love story. I love both of the characters together, and I just loved this book. It was so good. Then I read Black on Both Sides, A Racial History of Trans Identity by C. Riley Snorton. So this one is a nonfiction. This is another book that I read for the Trans Rights Readathon. I don't have a ton to say about this one. This one just talks about race and trans theory. I give this one 2 stars. I did not really care for this one, mostly because I just feel like it didn't do a great job arguing its point. It read like a doctorate dissertation paper, and it really brought me back to like my days when I did in college start off as like a literature major, and I quickly changed that because it's very academic type of a read, and I don't necessarily feel like this author argued his point very well with describing, because he's looking not just at like necessarily like history, but he's examining literature from history and pointing towards these are instances of a crossover between Black culture and trans culture. And it just kind of, I feel like it just kind of went in circles and just kind of didn't go anywhere. So I just kind of think that there was better ways that this could have been written, and it did not work for me. And a lot of the academia jargon went right over my head. So maybe it's just more of a me thing, and it didn't work for me. Then I read Phoenix Gets Greater by Marty Wilson Trudeau. Very quickly about this one. Again, I also read this one for the Trans Rights Readathon challenge, because this does have 2 spirit representation in it. This just follows this child who, growing up, he talks to his mother because, he likes quote unquote girl things, likes to play with dolls, dress up, plays with other girls, and mother talks to him about their culture and about 2 spirit individuals. So I thought this was a cute one. I rated it 4 stars. I kind of don't really know how to rate children's books, but I did enjoy it. I might read this one to my kids. I just don't know how much it is going to really hold their attention, to be honest. But I did think this was really cute. And then I read Bourbon and Secrets by Victoria Wilder. This is the second book of the Bourbon Boys series. This is a contemporary romance, romantic suspense, although I feel like it's very, very light on that aspect. I felt like book 1 was very, very light on that aspect as well. I read that beginning of the month, so I'll have that wrap up here. So this one is about our female main character. She is forced to leave her hometown because of events that take place. She is forced to leave by our male main character of the story. So now she is like, it's years later, and now she is back in town because she is a private investigator, and she is partnering with the local branch of the FBI to work undercover to help them with something, which that one I'm kind of vague on. There's definitely some bad guys that they're suspicious of some like criminal activity, but it's very vague on that criminal activity. This book mostly more so focuses on the romance of our female main character to the male main character, who is the brother of the male main character of the first book, because this will have all 3 brothers in this series. There's one more book that's coming out in June, and he is a single dad. He is widowed. He's kind of a playboy, and both of these characters, he hates our female main character, but he's also very attracted to her. They are very drawn to one another, and his children also are really drawn to her and think she's so much fun and just want to be around her. So that kind of also forces him to be around her more as well. So I give this one 4 stars. I did really enjoy this one. I am looking forward to book 3 coming out. It's just, like I said, it's very, very light on the romantic suspense aspect of it. So I would encourage, if you are wanting to go into this looking for romantic suspense, if you are used to reading romantic suspense, this one might not be the one for you, because that's so light. However, if you have never picked up a romantic suspense book, this might be a great starter for you. I did really enjoy it. Lots of steamy scenes. It was wonderful. So that is all of the books that I read in March. If you are here at the end, I am just going to say a little spiel about some of my reading goals that I was able to accomplish this month. So I did read 14 books this month. I participated in the Trans Rights Readathon. I did not meet all of the prompts for that readathon. However, the readathon on Storygraph is open until the rest of the year. So I am going to continue trying to work on reading more books with trans representation in them, just to continue to diversify all of my reading that I'm doing. Otherwise, I did meet all of my personal goals this month. So to read 1 nonfiction book, I think I read 2. Read 3 books by BIPOC authors. I did that. Read 1 book from my shelves. I actually read 2 this month, so I did fantastic with that. Read 1 book with an LGBTQ relationship. I did that as well, most especially because I did the Trans Rights Readathon, which did help with that. But then I also read a Sapphic book. So that also met my challenge for the Sapphic reading challenge that I'm doing. And then to read at least 3 KU books. I did meet that as well. And then I'm still continuing to mark off stuff of the other reading challenges that I'm doing, which I talk about those more so in my TBR videos that I make. So I have the Diverse Baseline Challenge, which you only have to read 1 book per month for that, but I've been trying to read multiple books to accomplish those because they have so many prompts that you can do. And then, like I said, the Sapphic reading challenge that I did, and then Romanceopoly. I did meet all of the challenges. So March is the end of the first quarter of the Romanceopoly challenge, which was winter. And so now that it is April, I'm moving on to the second quarter of the challenge. But yes, I did meet all and check off all of the prompts for that challenge. So I feel like I'm doing really great with all of the reading challenges that I'm doing and all of my reading goals. And I'm just feeling really accomplished with my reading. It's been really good this year. So, but that is going to be it. There are some things going to be popping up here about subscribing, watching another video of mine. If you like this video, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing. Otherwise, that is going to be it. I appreciate all of you for being here. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.